one of the Leupold Oregon State Championship. Now, this particular match is a little weird in how they run the points. There are six matches, so there's three on Saturday, three on Sunday, or relays, like we call them different things, but you're going to shoot three times Saturday, three times Sunday. The Oregon State Championship is going to be the first three matches on Saturday. So all three times you shoot on Saturday, and then the first two times you shoot on Sunday. And then the Leupold Cup, which is a separate event, is the first three or the three on Saturday and the last one on Sunday. So there's two different competitions occurring at the same time. This particular match, there is no grand aggregate for all six. Um, but we'll cover that a little bit later. So here I am getting set up. I was fortunate that I was able to keep the Neo Max. This is a prototype. I was able to shoot off it all weekend. I thought it was phenomenal. In fact, it's really weird because obviously I'm recording this after the event. I had to send this back first thing Monday morning after the event. I'm now back shooting on my Mini. And while I love my Mini, like I've got a Mini X, I absolutely love it. I will tell you that I already missed this thing and can't wait for mine to show up at some point. So, all right. Well, this is Douglas Ridge Rifle Club. The targets are way up here on the hill. It is an uphill. I don't know what the degree is, but 2, 3, 4 degree uphill shooting. It's a funky little range. Lots of trees on the left. There's a couple cut throughs down on the right, and it's a little undulating with a big pit down here. It can throw some weird winds, some weird flyers, and do some weird stuff to your bullets. Felt pretty darn good about this. I went out there. Uh, if you're following along with my tuner settings, this number right here, number 3, that's my tuner setting. So I'm using the new Cortina V2 tuner. So it indexes just a little bit differently than his original tuner. And as a result, I'm on 3. I really do like how the new tuner is working, by the way. So I went out, shot a 199. Now I used, I had 8 inches of vertical. I used most of the 10 ring. Had a little bit of trouble getting the gun settled in. That's not like this barrel. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but you can see cider 1, cider 2, then cider 3, then cider 4, then 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10 are up in here. And once, there's 9, there's 10, so it settled in a little bit, but for whatever reason, it was acting a little strange on me this day. But I feel like I came away with it real well. I'll take a 199 11X any day of the week. And it was a great way to get started. Conditions were pretty calm. There was just a little bit of movement out there. And I will tell you, if I'm being totally honest about how I'm shooting, these were not great calls, obviously. 13 and 14. I made some corrections on after 13. Here's 12. Then I was holding, where was I holding on this one? I was holding actually right about where it hit. And then I shot again and 13 hit. So I came out and then 14 hit. So I wasn't obviously seeing the pickup as much as or it would have been a let off actually that I saw. And so that threw me a little bit and I got really lucky. And this is probably one of those situations where, I'm not gonna lie, if I had had my 284, I'm not sure that this would have caught. This is probably one of those rare circumstances where that extra 100 feet per second might have saved me a point or two. And that's really the whole point of it, right? You're shooting a little bit faster. You're trying to shave that much more wind, buy yourself a little extra buffer. I felt like these calls probably were saved because of, this one was dumb luck, to be honest, because I just didn't catch it. And then by the time I made the correction, this one barely caught. So did the magnums, I can't say for sure because obviously we don't know everything about what happened, but I'm going to say I'm pretty sure that the magnum saved me at least this point here, if not this point. Let's get on to the second match. I didn't really make any adjustments. I'm still on tuner setting 3. I felt like it was shooting well enough. I was not bringing my best gun into this match. I had some problems. I was shooting probably a B plus gun. I would love to tell you guys that I had a perfectly dialed in A plus gun. It just wasn't the case. I knew this gun was shooting three quarters to a minute groups. That it's not comforting when you go into a match. I did do some tuner testing the day before, but like I went into the match knowing that I was shooting a BB plus gun. I felt like I managed it really well considering what it wanted to shoot. You can see that I dropped four out right out the bottom here, and boy, that one hurt because I was one, two, threes in the middle here, and then boom, four came right down. And it happens. But I came back, I corrected, had really nice run of X's in here, and shot a 199.9. So felt like even though the gun was like a BB plus gun, it was shooting pretty well, and I had a pretty good idea of how to manage it. The wind was pretty constant. There wasn't a lot to manage in that respect. It was starting to pick up a little bit. We were definitely getting some mirage, but it wasn't anything unruly, and it wasn't anything that was overly tricky, I would say, at this point. Just man, just barely lost four out the bottom there. So but two matches in, I was feeling great. Like I was really pumped. Would I love to clean them? Absolutely. But a 199.11 and a 199.9, that is absolutely like a best case scenario in general going into like a state championship, Leupold Cup kind of thing. So, and this was, like an hour, what was about an hour and 20 minutes after the first match. So let's head over to the third match. I'm not consistent, right? So, I mean, it was just a great day. I felt good about it. I felt like I was managing a BB plus gun as well as I could. But again, look at this vertical, 9.6 inches of vertical. I was using all of this 10 ring. I mean, I had to work for this. This was not just like hold in one place and go. This was a lot of little twitchy back and forth. There were some switches, just little bits of pickup and let off in here that you really had to keep an eye on. But this definitely centered up a lot better. Again, this weird vertical hit. I had eight. I know I came down a little bit, still popped the nine up. It happens and you just move on. But this just felt really good. I ended the day, 3 points down. A 597 out of 600 is absolutely fantastic. Like, I would love to tell you, oh, like it's 3 points and you like that's horrible because I want to shoot clean. Like, I don't care. I don't care what match you're at. If you can only drop 3 points on a day, you're going to be up there, doing well. So I felt really great about it. I walked away looking at the scores and figuring, okay, like day one's down, and we're going to look at the scores in a second. But, you know, managing the vertical best I could, taking my win calls the best I could, and just felt really good ending the day for open. And then TR is down here. This match director doesn't organize anything. The names are just haphazardly inserted, so they don't ever sort it by score or anything like that. But you can see that I'm the bottom, the line right here, number 19. So there I am, 597 with 29 X's. So you figure I took 60 shots on the day, 29 X's, so that's almost a 50% X rate. I was super happy about that. 3 points down, like this was a really good day for me. I was really happy. I was three ahead of the next person, and uh, well, two was it two, three? Let me see. So I was two down. So one person was two behind me, and a couple people were 3 points behind me, which is not a lot of points, And everybody said, "Oh man, man, you're gonna, you're doing great." And I was really trying to temper myself and just say, "Look, three matches down, that's only halfway. There is a lot of shooting to go." Uh, but this is good position to be in going into the next day. So I went home. We went out as a group. There was five or six of us. We went out, had dinner, had a good time, and got up the next morning. Now, the next morning is actually the registration for Southwest Nationals. So one of my buddies from Washington was staying with me, and we got up at 5:45, registered for Southwest Nationals, got that out of the way, and then we headed to the range. So let's head out there. Day two, the way I started off day one, it just felt a little bit off. Now I had been looking at the temperature; it was definitely a different temperature. I made a tuner adjustment. Probably shouldn't have. I felt like it was the right adjustment. I had gone through. I had actually started at a different setting, and I took a couple ciders, made an adjustment. I think I made two or three adjustments, and I did feel like it was shooting good enough at that point where um, I would let it go. It's easy to look at these things in retrospect and say, well, you should have done, should have done, should have done. If I'm being honest about what happened here, if you look at cider 8, it was on waterline. I took cider 9, it popped up high, and I was kind of burning into my ciders, and I just said, well, I really don't feel like eating up more ciders and barrel heat and all that kind of stuff. I probably should have taken one or two more just to get really comfortable. But I went ahead and started for record, and wouldn't you know it, I went ahead and threw a low 9. And I wish I could tell you that that was a great way to start, but it wasn't. And so when this cider 9 hit, I was holding pretty much on waterline here. Uh, and and so when that 9 hit, I went for record and I came down just a little bit. I don't like shading, but I do shade sometimes. And this was one of those situations where I shaded. And then sure enough, boop, it dropped right out the bottom to number one. And, then I kind of picked it back up. You can see I went 10-10X and then shot 5, boom, came out up here. And then shot 8 went up here. And, I was using all of the target. It was horrible vertical, 10 inches of vertical, just about 10 inches of windage. Um, this was frustrating. I still wasn't feeling horrible at the 197. Like, it did allow my shooting partner, who we were paired up together. He was 3 points behind me going into today, and he actually shot clean ahead of me, and so he caught up 3 points. We were tied, and then another gentleman down the line also shot a really high score. I can't remember what it was, but I think it gave him another 1 or 2 points um, coming up. So this was tough for me because I had felt so good about the day before. I felt like I knew where the gun was shooting, and just lost some dumb shots, and so we went into the second match of the day, which is the final match for the Oregon Championship. I was tied up at that point with my buddy, and then I'm trying to remember. I don't remember exactly, but either the other gentleman, Jeremy, was tied or might have been 1 point ahead. I can't remember. Basically, there were three of us right there going into the next relay for the Oregon Championship, which is the second one of the Sunday. So this is the final match for the Oregon Championship. I wish I had a bigger target. Unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of it, but I did have this one. And you can see it was not great. I dropped 8 points, but let me give you a little context around this relay. This was a tough relay. So the gentleman that was tied with me, he shot first. I was shooting second. He shot first and he was struggling. He dropped 6 points. And this was one of those situations where I made a fundamental error. And I can admit I did it because, like, I'm human. Stuff happens. But I had been shooting a very particular way the other four matches. Like, I had a game plan that I was following. I was shooting in a certain condition. I felt very comfortable with it. And despite dropping 3 points on the previous match, uh, it's still, like, I was still definitely in it. So then I watched the guy shooting, and he's a great shooter. I mean, he's on one of the top teams in the country. Phenomenal shooter, probably definitely a better wind reader than I am. And he dropped 6 points. So I sat there going, okay, like, half of me was saying, this is great. I just have to drop 5 or less points and I win. Uh, but that put me in a really bad mindset, right? Because then I'm not focused on shooting well. I'm just focused on not shooting bad. And that's a fundamental error in how I approach this. Not only that, after he was done shooting, he was commenting about, how the right to left was all weird, but he shot in the left to right because it was more consistent. Well, to be honest, I had been shooting the whole weekend. I was shooting in mostly the right to left if I could. And I thought it was very consistent. And I felt very comfortable with where those changes were coming from. But my head got the better of me. And between seeing him drop 6 points, and then, like, I know he's not messing with me. Like, he probably genuinely was shooting the left or right. My head said, okay, well, that's what I better shoot in, because, if he says that's more consistent, then I need every advantage I can get. And that was a bad intersection, right? It's a bad intersection to worry about how many points you can drop, because if you focus on dropping 6 points, guess what? You're going to drop 6 points. If I had focused on shooting 200, it would have been a different story, most likely. And I'll tell you why as we go through my string here in a minute. But and then I got in my head and said, okay, I'm going to commit to a different game. I'm not going to shoot my game. I'm going to shoot his game, because you know he shot really well the relay before. If he was struggling on this one, I should follow in his footsteps. I just need to execute better than he did. And that was a mistake. Like, I should have shot my game. I should have shot what I was comfortable shooting in. But let's walk through this. So I started off, felt pretty good about the ciders, got in there, and I thought, okay, like, this is going to actually work. And then I went X on, 10 on, and then I shot the 9 out here, right? So instead of saying, okay, let's just keep going, my head went to, I can drop 5 more now. Like, I can drop 5 and be tied, and I might out X him. Um, and then what did I do? Like, I was so focused on not shooting a 9, I shot another 9. And then I instantly went to, well, now I can drop 3 more. Well, guess what? I dropped one more, and then I kind of snapped out of it, shot an X, and then followed up with 7 and 8. So you can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. Mentally, I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. I was so focused on not losing points that I literally gave up all 5 points right there, so that no matter what, I would have to shoot clean just to be tied. And on top of that, I didn't know how Jeremy was shooting. And, so, like, it was a pretty low point, right? Because I felt a little defeated at the end of these 5. I kind of thought, like, what's the point? I still stuck in there. I did the best I could, but I mean, I dropped a ton of points, right? Like, if you look, I dropped 9 points, and they were all over the place, 3, 4, 5, 7, then 8, and then 13, 14. Um, was here and here, and then 18 out here. Like, it was just horrible. And, this is just a really good example of shoot your game, don't shoot someone else's game. So I knew I had lost the Oregon State championship. I figured I was either second or third, something like that. And I was pretty bummed. I went in my car. I kind of had a 5-minute pity party. Texted my wife. I texted Eric. Said, hey, like, I screwed up. And I was really down. I honestly was. I was like, wow, good learning for me, but you hate when you learn at the expense of something. And this was a big match, and I blew it. So, my buddy who I was shooting with came up and talked to me, and Eric texted me and said, like, okay, so what? And my buddy said, okay, same thing. Like, what's the big deal? You still have one more match to go. Just go back out there and, let's shoot it. And we had like 15 or 20 minutes until that time. So I looked at this one last time and I said, okay, like, what am I learning from this? And, like I told you guys, don't focus on how many you can lose. Don't focus on what someone else said the conditions were doing. Focus on your game. And so I tried to just, like I said, I had a horrible little 5-minute pity party. I was in my truck. I was upset. I ate an apple. Um, and then I went out and I said, okay, that's it. Like, we're done thinking about that match. Let's get to the next one. And so let's head out to that match, which is going to be the last one for the day. This felt really good. Now, it was messy out there. It was tons of mirage. It was tougher to see the target. There was a lot of movement. But this relay, I shot my game. I shot the condition that I normally shoot in. I shot in the tempo I wanted. I did what I wanted to do in this match, and I felt really good about it. Yes, something funky, something funky happened down here on 2, and I couldn't tell you why. I obviously I shot cider, where is it? Cider 8 right here. And I said, okay, let's go for record. And then, just missed this call. and lost it outside. Then, came back and dropped it down here and then went out here. So, this was not exactly how I wanted to start this one, but that's okay. I said, okay, I got it dialed back in and then, ran it out and only dropping one more. And I felt really good about this 196. Was it a great score? No, but I saw what other people were shooting when I was done, and a lot of points got dropped on this relay, and I felt really good about it. And I didn't even care at this point about anything else. I had honestly forgotten at this point about the Leupold Cup. I had forgotten, about the championship stuff. Like, I was just happy I went out there, shot my game, and tightened things up. And it felt like a really good way to end the match. So that's what I did. Now, let's head and look at how the different scores turned out. And this match director does nothing electronic, doesn't send files out. There's no sorting. It's kind of a mess. But there was somebody underneath me that came out and shot just the second day. So I'm on the second line up here. And what you can see over here, I ended up second high master right here. So that's third place. So Jeremy, and I will tell you, Jeremy, he's a friend of mine. I've done videos. He's the gunsmith that I've done videos on, and he's a phenomenal shooter, and he really did well. You can look at if you look at his scores for the day, he shot a 212, a 197, um, and a 197, a 200, and a 197. So he had a phenomenal day, and like nothing against him. He deserved it. He won the Oregon State Championship. My buddy Chris came in second. He shot great as well. He pulled a 988. So he only dropped 12 points on the whole weekend. And then I had a 985, so third place. And I felt really good about that. Like, there was, I think, 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, there was 19 open shooters. There was a lot of really good shooters at this match. That, there was easily five or six guys that could have won this. And so I felt really good about it. But what I feel even better about after looking, because again, you're not going to see an added up score, but I will tell you, if you actually add up all six matches, so like a grand aggregate, I actually came in second place in terms of total points. And that made me feel even better because it really showed that I was able to pull that consistency. And it just showed that if you get your mind right, even if you think you're down, good things can happen. And I'm going to show you what, like, thanks to Eric, thanks to Chris, thanks for everybody who, kind of let me have my 5 minute pity party and then just, basically, kicked me and said, look, just get your butt back out there. You know how to do this. And, I went back out there and I did what I could. And here's what variance pays off. I was the high F class competitor for the weekend. And I believe when it came to this match, it was out of four relays, so that's 800 points. And I think I shot a 793 or 794. What would it be? 7 points down, 793. So I only dropped 7 points on the four matches that counted for this. It felt really good. This is a representative from Leupold that was there because it's the Leupold Cup. It's known as the Gary Noble Trophy, and it's really cool. Like you can see over here on the side they engrave names, so it's a perpetual trophy. So it's pretty cool. I'm gonna get to have my name put on there, and it'll be on there for all time. And um, like it's the little things like that that really they kind of solidify why you go through all the work and why you do what you do. And it felt really, really good to come out of there like this. So um, there's ups and downs in matches. Two things that I'll just kind of leave you with. It pays to have people around you that aren't going to kick you when you're down, and you have to make sure that you've got the right mental mindset when the time counts. So, in my case, I was down. That's not the right mental mindset. I had to get myself out of that, and that's where having some friends around, hey, John, like, look, you kicked ass, you did great, third place is nothing to be upset about, and I was like, okay, yeah, you're right, like, I fought, I just didn't shoot well enough, I didn't deserve it, someone else outshot me, and that's just the way it goes. And hey, there's still something else you can shoot for. Get back out there, And and that's what I did. I went back out there. I put this, the Oregon State out of my head, and I did the best I could. And to come away with this really left me feeling, um, really great. So I hope this helps in some way as you're watching this when you go to your next match. But as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one. We'll talk later.